Yes. That sound. The horn. It's here.
We're back.
We're back. Welcome, everybody, to the Zach Dresler Show. Thanks for joining us. If you can, please smash the subscribe button before we get into everything, all business, formal stuff. Smash the subscribe button.
Smash it.
Hit the like button.
You know it.
Go
Comment.
subscribe to us on YouTube. On YouTube, but on the audio portion on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes. You know, if there's something that's out there, it's on some audio platform. Go like it.
Yeah.
And you can also check this out on, what is it, Indy? TZDS. Sorry, I fucked it up already.
It's the acronym of your own show. It's TZDS, the Zach Dresler Show.
.tv.
TZDS.tv and TZDS.gay. You can use either one. They'll redirect you to links to where you can listen to every one of the episodes.
Absolutely. So check that out. Oh, sorry.
Want to drop this on everybody. We want to encourage the listeners to call in. We have a hotline.
Yes.
The TZDS hotline.
405-655.
TZDS. Which is also 8937.
8937. Tell me what your thoughts about pineapple pizza. You might make it on the air. You know, just any topic. If you see something from like the very first episode of the Zach Dresler Show and you have a comment, call it. Let me know. I'll play it. I'm not embarrassed. If you want to fucking just cuss me out, if you think I'm an idiot, go ahead. I don't give a shit. You know, leave your name, but just leave your name. Don't leave your number. Just leave your name. Identify yourself. If you're going to be brazen enough and bold enough to like rip me a new one on some audio message, at least leave your name so I know who I'm talking to. So I can look you directly in the eye and be like, all right, jerk.
But yeah, hit the hotline. It's 405-655-TZDS.
Come on, call everybody. 405-655-8937. That's 405-655-TZDS. First 100 callers will get no prize because this show is not sponsored. I just love water in a can. Tall boy. Tall boy water.
You gotta love the canned still water that shall remain nameless.
Delicious.
But yes, welcome everybody. It's the Zach Dresler Show. It's another week. It's another show, and
another lovely week. Dude, I don't know. I'm getting pumped. First of all, how are you?
Oh, I'm great.
You good?
Yeah, I'm great. I got a new case of Tall Boy still water. 4 cases of the Tall Boy still water that you're drinking that shall remain nameless, and I am, how we should say, hydrated.
We're staying hydrated. Stay hydrated this summer, everyone. It's important. Stay thirsty, my friends. But we got a great show. Great show. We got a good friend of mine, a comedian,
hilarious,
a musician, a talented musician, and a comedian musician, a music comedian, however you want to fucking say it.
How about that?
He does it all. Jason Bader. You can check him out at The Real Jason Bader on Instagram and I believe on Twitter. But he's gonna be joining us. And dude, I gotta say, like, my mood recently has been a lot better. I was sick. I had a little bit of E. coli / Campylobacter. Oh, just a little bit. Just a little bit that made me nauseous and stabby in the stomach. It was bad for like a week. But dude, driving here on the way, it's the sun didn't set till 8 o'clock tonight.
I know. It's crazy.
I love it. I love when that happens.
When you came here, it was light out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
yeah, it's bright.
It's happening."
We could have done one of these shows outside, probably.
We should.
We will.
We will. We shall.
We will. But it's I'm just so happy it's summer, man. I feel like this is post-pandemic. It's not post-pandemic. We're still in a pandemic. People are still getting sick, regardless of what you want to believe. People are getting vaccinated.
We're coming out of it.
But we're coming out of it, and I'm excited for this. I'm nervous because I haven't socialized with a lot of people except for you, like face-to-face. But I'm excited. I'm just excited. I get to go home to New York for the first time in like 16 to 18 months coming soon. It's going to be a blast.
The getting back to the social part of it, it's going to be really dicey because, there's type A people and, introverts, and it's like, I've seen, or especially people who are sober too, because like you don't have that social lubricant where you can just have fun and kind of let loose. Like it's interesting because I went to the office recently and there was 6 people in there or so, and we kind of got in a circle and started talking, but it was like if we like got off into a side conversation one-on-one, it felt way different than it used to be. Yeah. Because it's just there's so much in between us, masks. But
I also feel like there's a lot of people, a majority of the majority of people you talk about things you do, things that you've done, or and no one's done a lot of big things. I mean, if you have, good for you. But in the past 16 or 14 to 16 months, people have not wanted to travel or not seen family or just not done their normal activities or weekend activities that, you could talk about at the water cooler.
Or just develop bad habits. Some people have developed good habits. I think that's probably not the norm.
I've developed terrible habits.
If you go on my Instagram at Indy Fawcett, you can see there's a post I posted this week. It's a black with orange bars on it. You can see the steps that I took every day before the pandemic and the steps that I took during the pandemic. And I thought I was a sloth before, and I was averaging 6K a day. Now I'm averaging under 3.
Now
Under 3. And also, I've just recently felt like a little bubble in my leg during the day. Where I'm like, my leg's like, hey, bub, get the fuck up.
Yeah.
A little bubble where it's like a mini Charlie horse, where it's just like, hey, bub, stop sitting.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
I've developed a lot of bad habits. Some good habits, but a lot of bad habits. Smoking way too much weed. I don't know if that's a bad habit or good habit, but we'll find out eventually.
Hey, Bob Marley died of melanoma.
I'll work. Okay. Well, that's it's good to know it wasn't lung cancer, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I know I shouldn't use that as a
well, too late. And on that note, I'm gonna let's get Jason Bader on. This is big. Let's just we'll end on that note, which is weird, but fuck it. I'm gonna get Jason on right now. It's gonna be a great interview. Please enjoy mine and Jason's conversation. Joining us right now, very good friend of mine, a talented musician, talented comic, the wonderful Jason Bader, and a business partner of mine. So we can talk about that a little bit in a minute. How you doing, brother?
So good. It feels like a Friday. It's Wednesday.
It does. For
some weird reason.
Your Lakers did well last night. You and Kimmy's Lakers did pretty well last night.
It did well. I mean, I'm a little shook because they lost first game, second game last night. They were up by 15 at some point, and then
they came back.
They came back, and then it became like a 6-minute game. That's what the Lakers do. They'll be up all game. Then at like 4 minutes to the end, they'll be tied, and then it's like the last 4 minutes, I'm having a heart attack. Literally.
Yeah. And to be fair, like they did look good, but the Suns didn't have CP3. They didn't have Chris Paul.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't think the Lakers have played to their full potential this whole series. The first game they played horrible. I don't think they played great. I mean, AD only started playing a little bit better towards the end of the game. They didn't put Trez in, who I think is a key player. I mean, defensively and he slams them down. We'll see. I just hope they just destroy it from here on in.
I think it's going to be difficult because I think if you guys make it out of this round, I think you'll see the uptick because again, AD and LeBron they didn't play much of the last part of the month and a half of the season.
Injuries.
So I feel like they're not in like mid-form stride, and even LeBron said he's like, I'm not 99%. I don't know if I'm gonna be 99% through these playoffs.
Yeah,
and LeBron makes that team for the most part tick.
Right. What I love the most about the Lakers, I love the stars obviously, but I love the bench. I think are some of the most inspiring players, like THT.
Yeah.
Like Caruso. I'm
a big Caruso fan, man. That headband, that whole look.
He looks like Benjamin Button, but he plays like the best player. I mean, he dunks so hard, and he's such a great defensive player. And I remember when I saw the Lakers, it was his first season playing, and this was 3 or 4 years ago. They didn't make this is before AD. They didn't even make the playoffs. So this is like a game that everybody knew they weren't going to make the playoffs.
It was the first. So I think it was LeBron. It was LeBron's first year, right? It was
LeBron. Yeah, I think it was his first or second year, and LeBron wasn't even playing. It was just bench.
Yeah.
And they're playing the Warriors, And I remember like I was at the game and Caruso went so hard. He played like it was a championship game. And I remember being like, this dude is like a hard worker. He is going to put up all his energy. And I just, ever since then, I've loved him. I just think he's a great player.
I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, I love playoff basketball, and I just appreciate, because it's, you know the stars are going to shine, but then there's those like, sixth or off the bench players, or those guys that just didn't do, who were just role players during the season, who just really come out of nowhere.
Right. I totally agree.
So I'm a Nets fan. I know that's kind of crazy, but like, well, you're from New York too, so. Brooklyn and New Jersey. Like, I grew up all over the tri-state area, so like, but my dad didn't. It's crazy enough. My dad didn't like. He liked the Knicks before Ewing. Once Ewing got on the Knicks, for some reason he didn't like the Knicks anymore. He didn't like Starks. He didn't like Anthony Mason. He didn't like any of those '90s teams. He hated them. Them. So we would go, when we were living in Brooklyn in the '80s into the early '90s. We would get tickets and go across, Manhattan over Staten and the Verrazano to Jersey to go see the Nets. And now it's the opposite, because now my dad lives in Jersey, and I went to middle school and high school in Jersey, and now when I visit home, I have to go to Brooklyn, where I grew up, to go see the Nets.
Yeah,
but
that's so weird.
I mean, it's great that the Knicks are back, basketball is back in New York. I mean, I feel like the NBA is nothing without the Lakers and the Knicks and the Celtics. Those are like the three, and I guess you can say the Bulls.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's funny to see these teams who like were not great in the last couple of years all of a sudden be awesome.
Like Brooklyn. Well, Brooklyn was okay. Brooklyn had a couple good.
They were decent. Okay, but they were not like to be feared. Or
no.
Like,
and I still feel like they aren't feared. Like the thing with the Nets is like, yes, they have three incredible all-stars: Kyrie, Harden, and fucking KD. But they
also have Blake Griffin.
and Blake Griffin,
who's playing a lot.
No, and he's doing well, but they don't have that big big guard like Davis or Giannis, or like someone that's feared in the paint, that type of thing.
Right. But you know what? That's why that they shoot outside the paint. I feel like whenever you see the highlights, it's just like the big threes and just those like incredible shots, or like Irving will go in there real quick.
How did you grow up in New York? How did you become a Lakers fan?
I met my wife, Kimmy.
Okay, that's fine.
I was growing up. Honestly, I was never a big sports fan. Period. My parents don't know anything about sports. They don't care about sports at all. Grew up like I went to like Shea Stadium to watch the Mets here with like Jewish day camp. Yeah. But other than that, that was all my like sport. I played some sports, but that was it. Yeah. And then when I met Kimmy, her family and like diehard.
I can tell the wall in the back. I feel like is a lot of her stuff.
It's all her stuff. It's like a lot of her dad's stuff. I mean, they are like diehard. Like,
they have season tickets.
They had season tickets for a while. Yeah, they did.
Wow. And that's a pretty penny for season, because the Lake Show is the one that was hardest tickets to get any good seats.
Oh yeah. So Kimmy's dad, his law firm had tickets, so they would just go
sick.
So that over there, like this poster, and then like this poster over there is all a collage of tickets. Wow. So I mean, there's probably like, I don't know, 70 tickets just in there.
Yeah.
So it's, But now I'm like diehard. I feel like I know, like now I'm like a huge NBA fan. Just now I know every team. I know everybody now because of just like.
And you don't do any other sports like baseball or NFL or stuff like that?
No, I went to a bachelor party in Nashville, and we went to a Predators game. And I had the best time ever at like a NFL game, at a hockey game. Yeah. And I'm like, I think I'm a Predators fan now. It's just like, I don't know. Whenever I play video, like the NHL, like, 2K, whatever it is, I always play as the Predators now.
Dude, hockey, I can't watch hockey on TV unless it's playoff hockey for whatever reason.
Yeah,
so I'm watching it now. It's
kind of a slow game.
But when you're there at the game, it is one of the most fun games to watch in person.
Oh my God, yeah. And they specifically it is a party, like it is unbelievable. So this, it's very country in Nashville. There's the song, it's a country song, goes like, I like it, I love it, I want some more of it.
Yeah.
So whenever they score on the other team, whenever they get a goal, they play that song. So everybody stands up, starts singing it, and right after that little phrase, everybody points at the goalie. And there's like a dun 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 dun, and they go, "It's all your fault." Dun 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 dun. It's all your fault. And I just was like, "This
really
is
shaming
incredible."
the goalie.
Yeah, like it's wild. So I just was like, "These are my people."
I love it. Yeah, I think I went to Kings game out here. That was a lot of fun. Cool. I love going to Dodgers games. Dodgers games are a lot of fun to go. I love baseball in general. Like I love just going to baseball games.
Well, who's your team? Your baseball team?
So my baseball team's the Yankees. My second team is obviously, because I'm in LA, I love the Dodgers, and they're not the only time they would ever play each other is either if it's in a random interleague matchup during the season or in the World Series. That's the only time they ever. So it has yet. I mean, 4 years ago, when the Astros cheated and the Yankees should have been in the World Series versus the Dodgers, that would have been a very difficult time for me because I really would have wanted the Yankees to win, even though I'm living in LA. But I will say, like, just going to games in general, going to Dodgers games I'm not going to say more fun. It's just more affordable than going to Yankees games because Yankees are essentially the Lakers, and like it's a hard ticket to get. So, I mean, you can go and buy cheap seats, and then walk all the way down in the Yankee Stadium. In the new stadium, you can see pretty much the game from any angle because it's all open air. But with Dodgers tickets, I mean, unless you're getting like behind home plate or like those rows right behind home plate, those special, you can get a really good seat for like $5,200 depending on the game.
Wow.
And they have this awesome, I think it's still there. I mean, I'm not sure, this awesome, if you really want to get stoned and do damage to your body, all you can eat section. Yeah, it's a fun night. Or there's 3 nights that they have. I don't know if they're doing it this year because COVID program. I mean, they're supposed to be opening up again, but in a regular season, it's like 3 nights, 3 random games throughout the year, especially early in the season. They do $1 Dodger Dog Night. So all Dodger dogs are $1. Now, I don't know if that's appetizing to some people or not, but it's fun to go to see if you can do nine dogs in 9 innings. As like a challenge.
Like that's what I'll be doing next time I go.
So
I have to now.
Right.
I love food competitions.
Yeah, man.
Just like even if it's for a t-shirt, I will just let my body go for a t-shirt.
I know. Even though the shirt's at large, and I'm probably not gonna be able to fit in it for another week, I will eat all these pies.
I will. I really will. That's like my favorite thing to do is those contests.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to switch over to things that that we're both interested in, comedy and music. These are 2 of your like fortes, man. I want to let's talk about the comedy first. Yeah. So, you do comedy, you do musical comedy.
Yes.
When did you were like, I want to start doing comedy? Because I remember my point of time when I was like, hey, this is when I want to actually get into doing comedy, whether it's improv, stand-up, sketch, all that stuff. And that was, when I was younger, when I was like in my 20s, when I moved from Jersey into the city officially, and I saw my first UCB show, and I was like, I don't know if I like the thought of improv, but I really want to get good at stand-up. And one of my friends who I was working with was on one of the house teams. He's like, to get good at stand-up, you need to be, on your feet, but also know your jokes. I would suggest taking improv classes. And I fell in love with improv and sketch right after that, even though I loved SNL as a kid. So I was always like, I always wanted to do characters and stuff. But to me, always stand-up was the great thing. And, I've done stand-up on stage, across the world, sketch. I love doing it all, but I've never done music. I'm not a musically inclined guy. I can't, I can't hold, I can hold a tone, I can hold a beat, but I can't play musical instruments. And I'm so self-conscious about my voice. So when did you get started in all that?
Well, okay, so I think we'd have to go way back because I do musical comedy with my comedy partner and one of my best friends, Jason Blackman, and we grew up together. We've known each other since we were very little, and we became like best friends in high school. And there was this thing in high school, and this is kind of where I like realized like, oh my God, I want to be like a comedian. We had this thing called Sing. I don't know if you had it in your high school, but it basically was this like competition between all the different classes. So the 9th graders, 10th graders, they'd all like do this like thing where they put on like
a Eurovision for your school.
Kind of,
okay.
Kind of, yeah. We like there would be like a dance portion, then there would be like a this portion. But the big thing that like we loved was there was like a play. You kind of write your own play, and it was so I was like one of the writers and actors in it, and it was like the biggest thing in our school, and that's the first time where I kind of was like I was always like the comedic part in the play. Me and Jason would be like this duo we were like two Jewish old ladies one year, and one year we were like these two like kind of like frilly German guys, like, oh, hello, like, so we kind of like, and that's when I was like, oh my God, like I could like get a laugh, and I love this, but I also like doing it with him. So like years ago, college, we both moved out to LA. And we did UCB together and all this stuff. And we kind of would put on these sketch shows at a place in Silver Lake. Oh my God, I'm forgetting that it's not even there anymore. But it was near like the Silver Lake Junction. It was like under an underpass. I cannot believe I'm forgetting the name of it. Whatever. So we would do like a monthly comedy show there. And we would put on sketches, and we'd have other people come and do stand-up or improv or whatever. And we would do sketches. And then we're both musicians also. We were in a band together growing up. I was a drummer. I was the drummer, and he was the guitar player. But I just know how to play guitar also a little bit. I could fake it. And we would just be like, why don't we write like funny songs? We know how to write catchy songs. Why don't we? So we did it. And it was always a big hit. And then we kind of were like looking at like, all right, like we don't want to do the show anymore. Like we love sketch, but like, I don't know, the music is the most fun right now. So we kind of did this thing like, oh my God, let's just do music. Let's just be musical comedians. Stick with that. We kind of play these characters called like, we're the Jasons, and we're these very like optimistic, like, oh my God, hey, what's going on? And all of our songs are kind of like fucked up. Like all these situations we're in our songs are like kind of like weird and messed up, but we play these very like, it's going to be okay. We're all good. So I think like that juxtaposition is like really fun and gets a big laugh. And the biggest thing about musical comedy is I think, being in LA and being in the comedy scene in LA, I think we're sometimes seen at first as hacky because we have guitar. We're at a show, we have guitars, and we're matching Hawaiian shirts. And I think like comics could be like a little bitter and like a little bit like, who the fuck are these guys? Like you look at these hacks, like what? But I think like when we get on stage and like we like win over a crowd, especially of like other comics, we're like, all right, we did it. Because I think we're not using our shirts or our guitars to be funny. That's right. Like our songs are funny. Our songs are catchy. We're like, I think like these characters we play are funny. They're like kind of developed. So I think that's something very important when it comes to musical comedy, because I've seen, and also we're not topical. Like we don't write songs about Trump. We don't write songs about what Jennifer Lopez did that week. It's all very like.
Have you tried? And then not to like be like you should, but have you tried it?
No, we don't even because I think that we want to speak to like everybody, and we have the most fun, and we think like we think are like we're the most creative when we could just like situational, like your mom will love this song and so will your best friend. It's like one of those things. And also like the kind of characters we're playing, we don't want to make anybody feel bad or like, I don't know, like we just are very like happy and like these characters, and we just, to us, like it's the most funny, and also it's the most challenging, where I think we like that also, when you kind of have to write a situational song, like is this situation is funny for anybody,
right,
and not like have to rely too heavily on like this event that happened, and then the problem is like you can't even talk about that that's like in a year. So like we have songs that we've had for a while that just like we play that, we obviously are writing new stuff, but we like being able to have stuff that's that's
evergreen, and you can use, and I get that, because as a comic, I feel like, the hardest thing about being a comic or doing stand-up or any of that stuff is finding a good solid 5 to 10 minutes of material. Like that takes years. And I think when people start feeling comfortable with like, okay, I know that these 5 minutes are going to do well. Now I can work on some other stuff over here and like sandwich it in or splice it in to see how it goes and see what works and what doesn't. And that's I feel like that's something that people don't, people think like, oh, I'm funny around my friends. I tell, they think I'm funny, but going up on stage, doing a performance, whether it's stand-up, musical comedy, whatever it may be, it's a very different, it's a different game than sitting in a backyard making people laugh. Like that is a talent, sure, but like to transition that way is something different.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like you're in control of an audience, like to be in control of an audience is tough. And I think it's something that you have to be confident about and be able to like grab the attention quickly and hold on to their attention is hard to do. And I think that's that's the real test if you want to be a comedian.
No, for sure. And I don't think, listen, I hate people who are like, oh, it's hacky to do music comedy or duet music comedy or like, it's you know what? It's not. It's an art. There's no fucking rule book. I mean, I will say this, and I'm not gonna like. I have a friend. I don't know if he's gonna watch the show or not. Former colleague or whatever. I hate fucking puppet comedy. Like, and I don't mean like Crank Yankers, and I don't mean like Avenue Q, but like your second partner is the thing that's on your hand. Jeff Dunham. Yeah. Jeff Dunham.
Right.
I think, and again, listen, the dude's made a career. And there's obviously people that love that. And I'm sure people will be like, how could you fucking, say that it's not comedy? It is comedy. I just don't find it funny. I find it happy.
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny because we're put on a lot of like variety shows. So I cannot tell you how many times we've been on shows with like a magician or like a puppet guy or like a weird this person or a weird this person. We're so smushed in between like the world of like normal kind of stand-up comedy and like weird comedy. Like,
alt comedy. Alt
comedy. Oh, we get that all the time. We're put on alt comedy shows all the time. Like there was this very famous show, a very alt, oh man, let me get his name wrong. The dude's last name is Lynch. And he's like a very, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm going to get his last name. His last name is Lynch. He's like a very famous like alt comedy guy. He used to run a show in Los Feliz at this like weird, like what is it when you're like a witch? You're like religion, like a Wiccan. Oh, was it like some Wiccan center? The weirdest show. It started at midnight. And it was like a bizarre place and a bizarre show, but it was one of those where you're just like, this is crazy, but it is so fun. Like, it's just one of those weird situations where like, oh my God, like where the fuck am I right now? It's midnight. I'm in a Wiccan center. And like, there's all like, we were like the least weird act there. And we're kind of a weird act.
Yeah.
But that's always, we get a kick out of it when we're like the least weird act. Cause that means your act is like bonkers, but
we're normal. We're normal.
Yeah. When people are like, you're not weird enough. We're like, we are too weird of a show right now.
That's crazy. That's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So wait, I didn't realize this. Did you go to college out here? Did you say that?
No. So I went to college in New York.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So you moved after here with your friend. And
we moved with like a group of like 7 like best friends out here. So when we came out here, we had like such a solid crew of like people who grew up together forever, which was like so cool. I don't know if I'd be able to move out here alone.
It's important. I mean, I feel like, LA is one of those cities. It can be a very lonely city because it's so vast, it's so big. And if you don't know someone and getting to know people here as opposed to, and I don't want to generalize, but I've been here 8 years. I feel like I have a good solid face. Indy's one of my good friends, my producer, I trust him, but I feel like there's less people that will be honest with you face value. And it's more about what can you do for me? Okay, we can be friends.
Yeah.
Where definitely. In New York and the East Coast and certain other areas on the West Coast, you just don't get, it's just not that way. And to be able to, like you said, to move with 7 good friends, that's huge.
Yeah. I just think it's like hard. It's like everybody comes out here wanting something that's kind of hard to get. So you kind of have to like defend for yourself. And it is like that where you're like, what could you do for me?
Yeah.
I'm only going to do this if you do this. And it can be kind of a tough place.
Even if you like, for me, I moved out here for a relationship and it still felt lonely because she was a horrible human being, but that's a topic for my therapist. But like, seriously, it was just like, it was hard to make friends because she wasn't, she's from here. So she's like, I have my friends. I don't want to go with you. I don't want to go with you to socialize and make new friends. Like, it was just felt very weird. So like for a long time, it was like I had friends, but they weren't true friends. They're coworkers and then it's taken me a while, more so than any other place I've lived, to really find like a good core group of friends.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said, LA can be very very isolated, very lonely.
Yeah. Well, I think that by having my friend here has made me not make a lot of friends out here because I like, Jason and I, we just like hang out all the time, like mostly like comedy wise.
Yeah.
So like, like the comedy scene, the huge part of it is like hanging out at the clubs, hanging out at UCB, and we would just be like, we'd be like, well, we're friends. Like, we don't want to, like, we're too nervous to like be friends. So we would be like, run off and like, do our own thing.
No,
so we never got into like, oh, we hung out at the Comedy Store. Oh, we hung out at the Improv. We hung out at UCB. Because we didn't need to. Those people who come here alone and they're like, they want to be part of that community because they like need to be. We didn't have to do that. So we kind of felt like misplaced in that. I mean, we made a ton of friends.
No, I totally feel what you're saying because I was, I did stand up and improv and like UCB in New York, and being from New York, after I would work at the theater or do classes or do shows or go see a show, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, let's go hang out. I mean, I would go hang out with my classmates at like Peter McManus or go to these places where people are hanging out. But I was just like, I just want to go hang out with my friends that I've known here for all my life, or like, my college friends that have moved here. Like, because, rather than force a scene, because in New York, I feel like you can be, there's scenes everywhere where here, you can walk down the street, make friends because it's all convenient. Here, it's like, you make friends in a bubble. If someone lives on Santa Monica and you're in Hollywood, it's like, well, yeah, we're friends, but we don't hang out like regularly.
Literally impossible to be friends.
Yeah.
At that point.
Same thing with relationships out here.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, when I moved to LA, I moved to Silver Lake and I lived in Los Feliz and Glendale. I loved the East Side and I was on the East Side. Then I met a girl from Calabasas and now I live.
Now you live in fucking, you live far, dude. When I have to come
now
visit
I don't
you,
live
that's
on
a
the
trip.
East Side anymore. I don't live on the East Side anymore.
No.
So, yeah. So I totally understand what you mean when you say that.
That's funny.
Cool.
I didn't realize she was all the way out there. Interesting.
Yeah, she was born and bred. I mean, when we started dating, I was in Glendale and she was in Calabasas, and it was like a trek to get to each other. So we moved in like
that's a long distance relationship.
It is long, and I was also working at the Ellen Show at the time, and those hours were brutal and long. And I just like I wouldn't get out till 8 or 9 o'clock, and I was like, "You want to get dinner?" Like, all right, I'll be there in 2 hours. It just did not work well, so that's why we moved in kind of quickly when I moved to her.
Oh, okay, and now we're married, so there's no excuses.
Right. I'm stuck. Is what I'm telling you, Zach.
Help me! She's behind me.
Help. She's right outside the door. She's listening.
But like you are, a talented guy. Like, I mean, musician wise, you play piano. You say you can get away with playing the guitar. I've seen you play the guitar. That's more than getting away. Getting away for me playing the guitar would be you playing the guitar and me miming me playing the guitar. You're a drummer. What other instruments do you fucking play?
Well, so my main instrument, like the one that I feel the most comfortable on is drums.
Yeah.
I've been playing drums since I was 8. So that's like my real instrument.
Okay.
Everything else, I am truly a con man. Really. I mean, like it's like a heist movie. I mean, I just know the chords. And if you play the chords slowly, people are like, whoa, he knows what he's doing. Like if you're like play it with emotion and you pick every string and hit every note, they're like, ooh, that sounds sexy.
So you play some slow ballads because you know how to do it, but you can't play like some Rage Against the Machines, like Killing in the Name of, where it's like a fast.
Oh my God, I cannot solo for my life. I literally play, normal humans play piano with all of their all of their fingers. I play with these 3 fingers, the piano. So I literally play like this. I taught myself. So when I play piano, I look like a velociraptor.
So, interesting. I didn't know you played with 3
seriously,
fingers. I didn't notice that when you were playing, when we were shooting
3
music.
fingers, literally. So I've stunted my own growth as a piano player. I can't go any further than this. If the chord, it's too much. I literally have to stretch.
You're like, I have to get a custom-made keyboard for myself.
I mean, yeah, I don't use my pinky and my thumb finger when I play piano.
That's funny. I did not notice. I have to go back and look at some things.
I hate watching footage of me playing piano because I look so weird. It is the weirdest thing.
Huh. That's funny. Yeah. That's really funny. I did not notice that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've written, is it a couple albums or just one? I mean, I know with Stell Elder Jesus, I can't talk. Elder Jerko?
Yeah. Just one. It's like an EP. It's like 6 or 7 songs. I did that. Growing up, I was like a drummer in a band, as I said, with the other Jason. And I wrote a couple songs there, but mostly this is all me. So yeah, just one EP.
I mean, I find that fascinating because, you know, it's what I can write a script, I can write like a pilot, I can write like stuff for film and TV and digital content, whatever you want. But to write like, you know, music, to think about that, like to go through that, what is that? I mean, I can't think about that. What is that process like? Like, how do you go about doing that? How did you come about with these songs? Was it inspiration? Did you just sit yourself in a studio with like booze and weed and just like try to get creative? Like, what is that process like?
I think that like I love storytelling. So a lot of my songs are like stories, all stories based on like real things that have happened to me. So like there's this, I have a song called the Palm Hotel, and it's literally about when my wife, but at the time girlfriend, were in Palm Springs. We got into a big fight at like a hotel there, and it just kind of tells the story of that fight and what was going on and what I was kind of feeling and couldn't say and didn't want to say. And it's like whenever we pass it now, we're just like, oh, the Palm Hotel.
We should never talk about that weekend again unless we want to listen to the song. Let me play it for you real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I usually like to I'll come up with okay, I want to write a song about this. I'll come up with like a chord progression, some you know, something that sounds nice, and just then write the lyrics from there. But I think the lyrics come really easy when you're just like when you're writing a script or a pilot. You know, you're just telling a story that you have so clear in your head.
Yeah.
So you're able to, but you kind of want to put it in a kind of poetic way without being too literal, I guess, and just wanting to.
No, I get that. But how do you? I mean, because I feel like it's 2-part. Like again, when you're writing a TV series, you're just writing it, and then comes the production in terms of like, okay, this is the visuals we're doing. But I feel like to write, like, how do you score the song? Do you score it first? Do you write the track and like the beats? You put the layout, the beats, and then write out, or is it like a hybrid process? Because that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I would say a majority of the songs I write on piano. So I'll just have a piano. I'll have just the chord progression. I have the lyrics, and then I'll take it in. I have a really great friend named Colin, who is like a musical genius. He knows he really knows every instrument, and he knows like chord variations and, oh, well, why don't we make this B sharp into a D minor? And, you know, like just stuff like that. And I'll work with him, and he'll kind of put his 2 cents into stuff. And then, you know, just I like to kind of, you know, I'm not playing with a band, it's just me. So normally a band would like come up with a song, and then like they'd practice it together, and then boom, they could kind of figure it out. It's just I'm alone.
Yeah.
So a lot of those beats, like all those things that surround it, are in the. So while we're in the studio, you know, okay, or do we want a drum track? Right, let's lay down the drum track. All right, now let's lay down the piano. All right, do we want organ in it? Do we want a synth part? Do we want horns? Colin played a ton. He's a really great. His like main instrument is sax. Yeah. So on my EP, there's a lot of saxophone on each song. So, you know, just all these different things I like kind of build on top of each other. And a lot of it happens in the studio where we have time and we could just mess around and try different things.
How long did this take to do all these like 6, 7 songs?
Well, oh my God, it's so crazy. I finished literally 95% of it, and then COVID happened. And I had all I needed to do in the studio was record a vocal for one song. That's all I needed to do. Then COVID happened. So I literally had to buy a microphone, and I recorded it in my closet in my old condo, like up against clothes, because it's like kind of like a sound, you know, like,
it gives the sound.
And that's like, but that like took me a while to get all that stuff and then like get it done. And then I sent it back to the engineer. So,
wow.
It should have taken like 4 or 5 months, but it ended up taking like 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID fucked everything.
It really did.
That's great. That's interesting. Because in the end, it's just like the process of. I mean, it takes could take the same time for like a script to be developed or a TV show to develop, 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, and then you get like notes on it, and then you do rewrites. It's the same thing where I heard them like, no, take this out, change this to that. You know, it's very similar.
Yeah, I don't have many regrets in life, because you can't. But I really wish I continued, because I played I was taking piano lessons from like 6 years old on, cello lessons. Like I was good at that.
Wow.
And then 13, I think it was like when we moved from Brooklyn to Jersey, I continued playing cello, but like in, a school capacity. It wasn't like I was getting. And then I got more interested in playing sports, and I feel like, as I developed older as a teen, one of my friends who's a really great like just a really great guitarist, I would go over and I would sing and he would play guitar, and I was like, man, I really wish I just stuck with music as well, as like because I made full tilt to sports. Like I was practicing, training, doing all, multiple leagues at once that I probably could have dropped one or two to just continue. Soccer, basketball, I mean, you name it. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, I played everything, but then I started focusing more as when I was 14, 15, 16, 17 on soccer. So that, like, even though I'd play like high school basketball or baseball or track, I was playing soccer all year round on top of playing those sports.
Wow.
So like I was training. I mean, during the soccer season in summer, leading up to the fall season, I mean, I would go and train with a goalie trainer, 3 days a week.
Wow.
You
were a goalie?
I was a goalie. I played college soccer as a goalie. Yeah. So I loved it. I mean, I was okay at the field, but for me, it was just I loved being the first line of defense. Last line of defense, first line of offense type of thing.
Yeah.
So
cool.
And plus, I mean, I love basketball, but it was funny with me. I moved from Brooklyn, Jersey in 5th grade. And I had a huge growth spurt. So when I hit 5th grade, I was already 5'8".
Wow.
So I was a tall kid. So I was like, they put me at center. I was like, oh, I'm going to be 6'4", 6'5". I'm going to go, and then I peaked at 6'1", because I hit 6 foot in 8th grade and then went to high school and hit 6'1". But all my friends that were like this shot up.
Right.
And so basketball became a thing where I was like, I'm okay at basketball. I'm not the dominant, low post force that I was. And I really never developed because I was so big. I never developed like point guard handling skills, or like I had like decent mid-range jumpers, but I was terrible at threes. Like I was working on other things, rebounding, boxing out, layups, jump hooks, and free throws. Those are my bag, because I would just go up and down the lane or the baseline, set picks, pick and rolls. That was my thing. And then everything caught up, and we merged with other schools, like a regional high school, and all the kids that were my height also still grow. So I'm going up against, I'm like guarding centers that are 6'6". I'm 6'1". I'm like, put me on the guard. Like, you don't know how to play guard. I'm like, okay. Fair enough. I got you. I'll just be a bruiser, whatever you want me to do. But yeah, I really wish I stuck with like playing music. And
never too late.
It is, though. I mean, I've tried picking up guitar so many times, and I get so frustrated because like my hands don't reach around the frame of it all as well to like hit the chords, and plus I'm a lefty, so like I play I do it this way as opposed to this way.
Yeah,
and so it's like when I've been taught by my friends who are all righties, it's like it's hard for me to switch my brain around.
Don't do that. You should try the ukulele.
Yeah, is that simple?
It's way smaller. That's the first string instrument I learned, because I couldn't. The guitar was too big. You know what I mean? I couldn't. And that kind of helps you figure out like, okay, this is a chord. Also, like strumming to like a rhythm is harder than people think.
Yeah.
So that'll help with that. It's smaller and it sounds cool. It's
interesting. Okay, I'll try that.
Try it. I feel like I learned a lot of almost all of my instruments when I was like over 20. Like I feel like it's
except for drums.
Drums is
but I feel like drums you get that bass, so like you know the beat, and you've been playing with, like you said, other people in high school like you could figure that out,
Well, you see, I think, and I mean, I know drums is the hardest instrument, because to keep the rhythm, like keeping time is really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also when you're playing the drum set, you're using both of your feet and both of your hands.
Yeah.
And they're all doing different things.
Yeah.
So that one is, but I mean, you could still totally do that. I think that you could totally do it.
All right, maybe it's something I like try to do in like a like a video of some sort. Like I try to do something where it's like I learn to play guitar in like 30, 60 days, something like that. I push myself, and I should do. I mean, I love doing that type of stuff anyway.
It's good for the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, before I let you go, I feel like I know the answer to this question. Well, before I actually throw this question at you, I do like a bagel review, like LA bagel reviews or bagel reviews in general. Do you have a good bagel spot that's like your go-to bagel spot? I mean, we're New Yorkers, so I feel like we don't really know, but is there some place that you go to, or you just like
in LA?
You've accepted the fact that there's no good bagels in LA and you've just cut them from your diet?
First of all, how dare you?
What do you mean?
How dare you ask me a question like that? You son of a gun. I do not eat bagels in LA. Thank you very much. That is literally wasted carbohydrates, which I cannot afford right now, Zach. Okay.
I know.
I cannot. I literally, and it's funny, my family at home, they're like, oh, like, do you have any good bagel place? I'm like, I don't want to waste the carbs. I'd rather eat my carbs somewhere else, because I have not had, and I've sought after them a good. I'm from Long Island,
Yeah.
I feel like the bagels on Long Island are the best bagels in the world.
I won't argue. I won't argue with that. I think they're definitely better than Manhattan bagels. They put their money up for Brooklyn bagels. I think there's good spots in Brooklyn. Jersey bagels are pretty good. I'm not going to sit there and
I've had some. They're good. I've had Jersey bagels.
Connecticut can go the other way. I feel like tri-state in jail. But yes, I will say I know the good spots in Long Island, because I have friends in Long Island, so I know there are fantastic bagel spots in Long Island.
I mean, you tell me, are there any good bagel places here in LA?
I'm working on it. There's a couple that are good in the sense of like they're not the best bagel you'll have on Long Island, but like there's that spot that you're like, okay, if I want to grab a quick bagel, I know like decent bagel. And the same in Manhattan, like that type of place.
Yeah, I mean, I've had bagels here, but I'm just always like, damn, I could have eaten some spaghetti. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather. I haven't like produced this piece of it, but I did do Yeasty Boys. And Yeasty Boys isn't bad. It is not a bad bagel. They're trucks, so there's like 3 different trucks all over LA. The one I had was in Echo Park. Well, what is your go-to bagel with toppings?
Oh, for me, I mean, it's either a bagel with cream cheese, just like either everything bagel or sesame bagel with cream cheese, or sesame and everything bagel, bacon, egg, and cheese.
So is
those
it
are my things,
or just right out of the basket?
I mean, I don't think if you're getting a good place, you don't need it to be toasted.
Right.
If it's 2 or 3 days later, sure, you toast it to get that freshness back. I don't toast mine. Whenever I go to an order, I'll ask for a little salt and pepper, but no ketchup, because I'll take ketchup if I want and dip it in the bagel, like that type of thing.
Love it.
But those are my go-to like spreads. I like a good BLT on a bagel. Like if it's a really good bagel, I do like that. But I prefer my sandwiches on like rye or like, that type of stuff. If you're, if we're going that way. So I usually with bagels, I do like a buttered bagel, toasted, but that's the thing. It's like, I'll have a buttered bagel on the second or third day when I'm toasting it, because then it's like a nice melty butter that gets on there.
Right. Yeah.
But
see, I like an egg bagel with lox bread, but a lot of places here don't have lox bread.
No.
And for those people who don't know what lox bread is, it's very finely chopped up lox in cream cheese.
Yep.
But like so small, but it's mixed. I don't like a big piece of lox, but they don't have it here. A lot of them don't have it here. So it's hard for me to get my ideal bagel. So that's another reason why
I feel you. I
feel like I know a lot of good food places, but that bagels is like the one food that I have no idea where to even go for. I mean, I know like the chains. Yeah. But I know LA bagels are like, people are working on it, but it's hard for me to be like, I think there's better I think like when the pizza debate, you could find some great slices here.
Oh, 100%. There's definitely good pizza in LA. I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah.
But bagels have been few or far between.
Yeah.
But that brings me to my final and last question for you.
Yes.
Pizza. Pineapple on it or no?
No.
Yes.
Don't put anything sweet on a pizza.
Right.
It's nonsense. It's not, get it out of here. We don't have time for this kind of nonsense today.
I agree. I 100%. It's an argument I get with people who are not. And there's New Yorkers that love pineapple on pizza. I'm not going to say that it's blasphemous to say
nut jobs,
but they're crazy. It doesn't belong.
No, you go to any. Not, it doesn't have to be the best. Any pizzeria in Jersey, Long Island, New York, they have all the slices there. I've never seen pineapple on a slice like they made a pineapple pie.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's good. If you went into
you have to request it.
Even if you requested it, I don't even know if they'd even give it to you or if they'd have it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't get it. I think it's like these fast food chains from Middle America, like Domino's, Papa John's, that have ruined it. Apparently, it's Canada that did it. Canada was the first people to do the pineapple, like the ham and the pineapple. Yeah, Papa Giorgio. I remember doing research. Look up Papa Giorgio and pineapple pizza, Indy. Yeah, there we go. I feel like it's going to come from Canada. You had it.
I would think it would be Hawaii.
Sam, see? A Greek immigrant called Sam. I knew it was like something. Sam Papalopoulos. And along with his brothers, owned a restaurant in the state of Ontario. Canned pineapple began to be imported into North America along with pineapple juice, providing Papalopoulos with his crucial ingredient.
Unbelievable.
Right? Fucking Canadians. I love you.
Yeah, man.
I love the Canucks. You guys are great. Great maple syrup, but stop putting it on pizza.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, dude, I appreciate you joining me on the show. I had a great time talking to you. I mean, I know we're going to talk more after this.
Anytime.
But again, thank you for joining me, man.
It was a blast.
I would love to learn, actually, guitar lessons from you, so maybe we could set that up.
Anytime. Let's do it.
Sweet, dude. All right, man. Have a good night. Have a good week, and I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy. See you later.
See you later.